Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. Let's stand and have our opening music and our opening song with Dennis and Christy Soares. And the selection is not in your books, but you'll know what it is and you can sing along. And if you can't sing along, just mouth some silly word. You'll understand what it is. Thank you.
Just one change on the song. When you hear the word girl, say God. You'll get it. You'll get it. I've got sunshine on the cloudy day. When it's cold outside,
on the back of your books if you don't know it.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Oh, kalamai. That means excuse me. Okay. Aloha kakahiaka.
Aloha kakahiaka.
My kahi, no, that's good. Okay. Ma kaukau.
Hi.
Pa. Kale aloha ina kuhuna. Kale aloha ina kuhuna. No au I kamanava.
shut our eyes and move inside. We're going to have an opening prayer. Let's breathe together. Let's take some deep breaths in and let go with the exhale. Aloha. I know that there's one infinite intelligence, and this intelligence is known by many names, by many religions, but it is infinite. And what we know is the truth, that that intelligence is in each of us. And that intelligence has all the answers that we need. As Christ told us, seek first the kingdom and all things are added unto you. So we move inside whenever we need attention or whenever we have a question. And we know the truth. We find that we listen and hear the voice from within. And it's always the voice for love. So I give thanks for the Center for Spiritual Living. I give thanks for all the people that have come here and all the people that haven't come here. What I know is that we are blessed today, that everything is in divine right order. I release these words with love, and we say together, and so it is. Okay, little announcement. We used to have announcements, and we have ascended into another dimension. We have an announcement board in the back, which I think is fabulous. The middle one is for the church. It has the church calendar on it in case you want to know what's going on during the week. You'll notice that one has the sunshine rays in it. That's that one. On either side are for you to put up classes you know or things that you want announced. And it makes it easier for the community, and you can just go back there after we are finished and look and see what's happening during the week. So that's a good new thing. I like that.
You set them up high for tall people.
Yes, I did. I put them at eye level. So our vision statement is awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence. And if you ever forget it, it's right there on the wall back there in big block letters, so you know what we're about. Our mission statement is to provide an environment of aloha, and we all know what that is. Inspiring a spiritual approach to living. Wherever you are on your path, you are welcome here. We are inclusive, not exclusive. And today, we have an extra special guest, which I really love, who I really love. And also, he's just the videographer from heaven. He also, if you came to Reverend Libby last week and you missed it, or you were in the bathroom when she was talking, it's a stellar speech. It is on YouTube. Thank you, Janelle, for recording that, because he wasn't here. It is on YouTube. You can look it up under the CSL YouTube. For just the best ever, the cosmic clown, Adam Lightplay.
No pressure there. I should ask him to lower the bar and say, hi, he's going to do something. Well, it's good to be back. It's good to see everybody. I'm sorry I missed last week and doing the creative thought, but Bonnie asked me if I could fill in this week, so I searched my memory banks and just pulled something out of my root chakra. And so, let's see. We've got visual aids. So, you probably are familiar with our symbol for the Science of Mind, CSL, this one. And just to recap it very briefly, it's the 3 layers. The V is going down in, and I haven't quite figured out the way back up, but that's probably what we're all working towards. But the top layer is the word, the thought, or the seed. You plant a seed. The middle layer is the impersonal, manifesting nature of the universe, which is like the soil. And then down here, lower level, the Maya, that's the result of planting the word into the creative process. Or if you plant the seed into the soil, you get the plant, and you go, what the heck am I doing with the weed? Well, you planted the seed, so go back and plant a different seed. But that's not what I'm talking about today. That was just a quick recap of the infinite manifesting nature of the universe, because what I'm going to talk about is something called the 4 kingdoms. And a lot of people attribute this to Michael Beckwith from Agape. That may be the case. Some foundation classes teach it, so I thought I'd just touch on it because it's just another way of looking at what's going on here. So the first kingdom is just dealing with life and the total separation, the total belief that I'm just down here and things are happening and it's all happening to me. I'm a victim, that guy's wrong, that guy's right, better pick the right team, you're a loser, I want to be with the winners, all that stuff. And then the next kingdom is the second kingdom. And that's where you get enlightened. You watch The Secret and suddenly you know all the power. You get manifest parking places and suddenly you know that you are the one that controls your universe, and with your incredible, amazing mental powers, you tap into the infinite source and you create everything you want. So, but that's only second kingdom. But that's better because at least you're not a victim. You know that you have some influence over what you're doing, right? Stand by for more visual aids. Someday we'll have a projector and a PowerPoint. This will be easier. We'll get there. And there's a gate for each kingdom. And you got to pay a little toll at the gate. So to leave the first kingdom of victimhood and move into where it's done by you, what you have to give up is, I just scratched the bottom here to remind myself, I don't know if you can read it, what you have to give up is blame, shame, and regret. So if you're willing to give up blame, shame, and regret and all that victim mentality, you can let that go, pass through the gate. And by the way, we bounce around all these kingdoms. It's not like a linear thing, like you go through the gate and you can never get back, and now I'm enlightened, and I'll never feel a victim again, right? We bounce around through all four kingdoms. So then the next kingdom, if we move beyond, I'm doing it all, is, I'm doing it together with Source. The Source and I have a plan. God and I, either in this lifetime or before I even came into this body, made a plan and said, this is what we got to accomplish. And Lord, use me. Let me be an instrument to go out there and make a difference. So Kingdom 3 is where it's done through us. And then Kingdom 4 is when you get really up there, like Jesus or a really enlightened being, and you go, I'm just doing it. It's just me. There's no one else out here. I'm everything. The Maya, the things that I used to be a victim of, all of that is all me. It's just all me. And that's like the highest place, and that's great to be. But if you spend too long there, you're probably not in your body anymore, because we came down to this playground to enjoy all the other levels. And I don't have my notes, and I couldn't find it online because it's top secret esoteric knowledge. You have to pay thousands of dollars. No, that's Scientology. But somewhere around here, what you have to give up, I forget if it's this gate or this gate, but to get from the, I'm spirit manifester, secret manifestation man, into I'm doing it with Source, and I am, what you have to give up at that gate is the belief in separation. The belief in I'm over here and that's over there. And that's where you surrender to, hey, this is all flowing together to a higher purpose, and I get to influence. We are God's hands in the world. We're God. We're all part of the same substance. So like, I've got a body, this is me, and I got a hand that does this, and I got a heart that's pumping the fluid, and I got other things that do other things for me, and they're all part of the whole. Well, we're all part of God. We're all part of the infinite plan and the unfolding and the healing of this consciousness and the enjoyment of who we are in the planet. And we're a conscious extension of God, outdoing what we know in our heart we're being guided to do. Thank you.
Now, I'd like Dennis, Soares, and Christy come back up and do some more beautiful music. I know you know where the bulletin board is, and you're intelligent too. So welcome, please, Reverend Dr. Cathy Hough.
I am not a doctor, but I play one on TV. My glasses are all stupid. I want to begin today by honoring the legacy of Louise Hay. How many of you know who Louise Hay is? Yes, see, almost every hand. She was a major player in our movement, and she made her transition last Wednesday. Somewhere in her 90s, we're not sure. It was appeared in 92, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so the Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon, who's the spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living, said that the impact that she had on New Thought was astronomical. And he said, in his church, to this day, when newcomers ask about, you know, who we are, what do we do, he would ask them, do you know Louise Hay? Because everybody knows Louise Hay, and that's a good starting point. And she first learned about spiritual healing through conscious thought as a member of the Center for Spiritual Living in New York City. The regular Dear Louise column, some of you who are old timers know that, was in the Science of Mind magazine for about 13 years. One of the most instrumental things she did, however, was her work in the AIDS movement in the 80s, when she began what she called hay rides, which were healing circles for those who were suffering from HIV. Very amazing work she did. I had a dear friend whose name was Bill Dry. His name was Bill. He and I were fellow teachers in the same school site, and he had AIDS, and he went to her hay rides, and he was one of the people, as all of you know, along the path, who lead us into new thoughts. Somebody will give us a book, somebody will tell us what they learned, they hear a speaker. Well, he started talking about what he was learning in the hay rides. I was just blown away. So, as I said, he was first introduced to religious science at the Center for Spiritual Living, which was called the Church of Religious Science then in New York City. And the pastor there was Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, who's another name that most of us know, and an amazing writer and speaker. She became a minister in 1981, and shortly after that, she wrote her book, your famous book, You Can Heal Your Life, which outlines many of the principles of the body-mind connection in healing. She did make me mad, though, and I had to have my knee replaced, and I looked it up, and it said, I was afraid to move forward. Of course, it was shortly after my husband died, and there could have been a grain of truth in that. But she was very amazing. And Dr. David Alt, who's the minister of the Atlanta Center for Spiritual Living, used to accompany her on many of her hay rides globally and did the music for her. And she felt like Louise Hay became his spiritual mom. And he said, she was my main example of not just leaning into something, but running toward things that others flee from. He said, the first night I met her, she said, you don't have to earn the right to be loved. You are loved right now. And I thought, oh my God, I'm not an alien seed pod. There are others just like me. And he said the most significant nugget he got from her was to honor the entirety of his journey. Because when he was younger, he would whine like we all do and say, oh, I wish this was different. And she would stop him every single time and redirect him to the truth. And he said she was not afraid of the darkness. So Dr. Gordon said, without a doubt, thank you. Okay then. He said that without a doubt, Hay's legacy will live on through the Centers for Spiritual Living. So many of our people were introduced to our teaching through the work that she did. Her legacy will live on. He said, blessings to Louise and for her steadfast demonstration of what it means to live a long and purposeful life. So our theme for this month, the month of September, is Hearts of Service. And indeed, Louise Hay had a huge heart of service. And our value is love as community service. So the beginning quote in our journal that most of us received at the beginning of the year said, spiritual living, while focusing on interpersonal growth, leads each individual to the realization that they are not only one with the universal mind of creation, but one with everything and everyone as well. And out of this sense of kinship arises a natural desire to share, to help, to nurture, and the understanding that none of us is not free if one of us is not free. So this month provides us the balance and the opportunity to explore this balance between interpersonal work and contribution to the world through service. Many of you know that the word seva is a Sanskrit word meaning selfless service, which is an important concept in most Indian religions and yogic traditions. In ancient India and to today, seva was believed to help one's own spiritual growth while at the same time contributing to the growth and the betterment of the community. And seva is an important part of the teachings of science of mind. And this is evidenced in the words of our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who said, "We should not only pray, we should act." Each contributing the best he or she has to the common purpose, each willing to make any sacrifice necessary. Then he said, not a sacrifice reluctantly made, but as one who offers all he has for two great purposes. He said the first purpose, in a certain sense, is a selfish purpose, for we all desire self-preservation. The other, in the greater sense, that there can be no individual self-preservation without the preservation of all. So to this end, a few years ago, Centers for Spiritual Living instituted World Day of Service, one day every year where all members of all Centers for Spiritual Living everywhere are encouraged to volunteer for a chosen activity in the community. So this year it's coming up, sorry to give you such short notice, but it's coming up this coming Saturday, and we will again for the third year be volunteering our services for the Rainbow Friends Spay and Neuter Clinic, where Sandy Alstrom, who's not here today, is very instrumental. So there is a sign-up sheet in the back of the room, and if you can give 1 or 2 hours on Saturday for this wonderful cause, please sign up. So here's some of the jobs you will get to do. You get to register the kitties for their operation. You get to transfer the animals to and from surgery, clean the surgical site, monitor the cats post-surgery, make sure they're okay. This is the best job. You get to hold the kittens to keep them warm, and then help with cleanup. Last year we had 14 people show up. This was wonderful, and I know we'll do better this year. So again, back corner of the back table, there is a sign-up sheet. Please volunteer if you have the time. We've been witness, all of us, to the amazing outpouring of seva that has occurred in the wake of Hurricane Harvey. And I'm proud to say one of our own is among them. Our own Susan Hicks left on Saturday. This is a woman who, she's going to choke me for this, but she will celebrate her 75th birthday next week. She has also had 2 hip replacements, and she is out there among them. Pretty well, one came out, and got in. Technically, 2.5 hip replacements. Nevertheless, she is out there volunteering, which she always does, because if you know Susan, she is and always has been a woman of action. And I've talked before about all the ways she has helped our center. But if you don't know her, she served on the Leadership Council for many years. She was the prime coffee maker, dish doer, everything for many years. She took on the arduous task of cleaning out Reverend Tagg's room. She should have gotten a medal for that one. And just so many other tasks, too numerous to mention. But since I'm speaking about seva, she's certainly not alone. I could take all day just listing all of the people who show up and suit up to serve our center. Don and Lee show up every Sunday faithfully to back the musicians, make sure the sound equipment's up. And then of course there are our musicians, Dennis and Christy today, wonderful musicians who volunteer with love. Our choir, our creative thought people, our greeters, our ushers, our leadership council members. Our bookkeeper is a volunteer and she doesn't even come to the center. She's fabulous. People contribute refreshments. People who give tithes, who understand the importance of supporting the center financially. We thank you for that. And of course, our sanctuary builders. Every time we get lost in the beauty of this incredible stained glass, we get the opportunity to thank Stephen and his crew and the thousands and thousands of dollars and time they dedicated to this amazing, 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 beautiful piece of art. And if you haven't been in the women's bathroom lately, men, it's okay, you can go today. Because you need to stop by and see the mosaic that's being installed right now. Work of Marina Curtis, and assisted by people who took her class and made individual pieces. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Marina has lovingly donated her time, her treasure, her talent to this end, and she also did all the tiling in the men's bathroom. And of course, we're so grateful to our contractor, Lonnie, who has donated countless volunteer hours. In addition, for the past 5 years, he has deferred payment on his services until we get the final inspection on our building and can make a loan. So I could go on, and in case I have forgotten anyone, just raise your hand if you have volunteered or contributed to this center in any way at all. Raise your hand. I know there's more of you than that. Every time you give a creative thought, every time you put $1 into the basket, every time you bring a cookie to share. Yeah, because you know what? There is no big and small in spirit, and there is no big and small in the service you have given to this center. And if your hand didn't go up and you're wondering how you can help, come and see me. In Buddhist teaching, there are 3 jewels, the heart of Buddhist teaching. The first one is the Buddha, or the teacher. The second one is the Dharma, or the teaching. And the third one is the Sangha, or the community. And Thich Nhat Hanh, who's another one of my favorite teachers, explains that the Sangha is more than a community. It is a deep spiritual practice. It's a community of people who agree with each other that if we don't practice right mindfulness, we'll lose all the beautiful things in our soul and all around us. People in the Sangha standing near us and practicing with us support us so that we're not pulled away from the present moment. We've overcome a lot this past year, including the passing of Garen Fullington, Reverend Tag, and John Spade. But we remain a strong and a mighty and a growing Sangha. Whenever we find ourselves in difficult situation, members of the Sangha are there for us, understanding and helping us to make it through our dark nights of the soul, so that we all know that we're loved and supported. Providing seva to others is a beautiful evolution of consciousness and makes us all stronger. Seva is the karmic life preserver that keeps our spiritual heads above water as we help each other to stay afloat. I heard somebody say on the news today that when Mother Nature is at its worst, human nature is at its best. And it's unfortunate, again, that we have to wait until huge tragedies to bring our hearts to the forefront. But in another way, it's absolutely beautiful, and we have to remember that. Author Clarissa Pinkola Estes wrote, "Anything you do from the soulful self will help lighten the burdens of the world. Anything. You have no idea what the smallest word or the tiniest generosity can cause to be set in motion. Mastery is in increments, not in leaps." She encourages us. She says, be brave, be fierce, be visionary. Mend the parts of the world that are within your reach. I love that. Mend the parts of the world that are within your reach. So there's so much we can do right here on our own beautiful island. When we were talking in our Aloha Circle last Thursday, Cathy Breath, she's here somewhere, but she doesn't know I'm going to talk about her. But she said that one of her practices is, her daily practice is to smile and greet people with a compliment. And I think this is a great example of a small thing that can change a person's day. Yeah. Immediately. That's Seva. We don't have to do these great, huge gestures. My husband, Doug, many of you know, he was a smiler and a hugger himself, but he made it practice. And he used to kind of annoy me. Now I feel badly because I think how beautiful it was. But he used to stop people that smiled at him and he would go, "Thank you for that nice smile." And what would they do? Their smile would get bigger and broader, right? Why did that annoy me? I'm so sorry. I'm always saying that. I'm so sorry. I don't think I've given up regret yet, Adam. Because it was a beautiful thing to do. Beautiful thing to do. Now, back in the day when I was an educational consultant, I had this project going in beautiful downtown Newark, New Jersey, a place everyone wants to visit. I was working with a large group of underpaid and overworked Head Start teachers. So I'd go there for a week of month, for 4 months. Every month for 4 months, I went there for a week to teach them the high scope curriculum, which was a wonderful, it still is a wonderful curriculum. But it involved many changes. They had to make many changes in their classroom and in their teaching style. And we all know how much people love changes. Some of them were pulled screaming into the room every time. But a few months after the project ended, we went back to observe some of the classrooms to see what, if anything, had changed. It was a test of my teaching abilities, and I was nervous and scared, and mainly because I was going to be joined on this venture by one of the high-scope bigwigs, really big, really big. And this from the High Scope Educational Research Foundation that employed me. And unfortunately, this big boss, whose name was Philip, he and I had clashed several times in trainings that I had attended. So I was, needless to say, praying big time. Big time. But you know, God is so good all the time. It only takes one occurrence like this to remind me, because we entered the first classroom and the teacher came running up to me, threw her arms around me and said, "Cathy, you changed my life. I love teaching now. Come and see what we've done." And she proceeded to take us through this classroom, which really was a model classroom. The change was evident everywhere. It was evident from the room environment, in the daily schedule, and the children's vocabulary and actions. I almost fell over when one of the 4-year-olds came up to me and pulled my skirt and said, "Are you Miss Cathy?" And I said, "Yes, I am, but how did you know that?" And she went like this. "The hair." So I was still a bit puzzled. I thought, is she psychic? What? But as I'm going through the room, I see the flip chart that's where circle time takes place. And there is the morning message. One of the things I have taught them was to give a morning message, which is a combination of words and drawings and symbols, because it's a pre-reading activity. It teaches comprehension. So what do I see there? I see a stick figure. I never looked so skinny in my life. It was a stick figure with curly hair underneath. Miss Cathy is visiting. It was so cool because Philip, when he saw it, he looked at the board and he looked at the little kid that was off playing, and he goes, "Wow, that's really fabulous. She's got reading comprehension." So this teacher will never know. She still teaches to this day, I don't know. But she will never know what her kind words to me and her dedication to her teaching changed my life in that High Scope Foundation instantaneously. I won't lie and say Philip and I became best friends, but his respect for me rose incrementally, and we were partners for the rest of my time working there. It was very good, really good. Ram Dass once said, "Helping out is not some special skill. It's not the domain of rare individuals. It's not confined to a single part of our lives. We simply heed the call of that natural impulse within and follow it where it leads us." Ooh, I know how the natural impulse of that teacher helped me that day. I think all of us have had the experience of spending ourselves in the world through seva, through selfless service, and then being repaid with so much more than we gave. It seems that whenever I'm consciously giving of myself, whether it's a gift of time, or a gift of money, or a gift of goodwill, or a gift of listening, I then, myself, find that I have more time and more abundance, and I feel more productive, and I feel more fulfilled in my life. That old adage is true. What goes around, comes around. I used to have a supervisor, I've talked about her before, Mrs. Brown, who was tiny and nervous all the time, would pull her little wig, but she'd go, "Now, Cathy, what goes around, comes around." Usually after I said something sarcastic. Yes, Miss Brown. What goes around, comes around, and it does. So now more than ever, we all know this. It's important that we all find ways to give of ourselves. Giving is infectious, and it ripples out into the world ways known and unknown. We activate a sense of blessing and gratitude when we serve others. So this week I invite you to consciously choose ways to incorporate selfless service into your days. Let's agree to lighten the paths of our fellow humans in any way that we can. It can be as simple as offering a kind word or a smile, because together we can demonstrate that seva is devotion to God made manifest. And so it is.
So it is. Yet another wonderful talk. Incredible. I'd like to invite the Soares back up again for some beautiful more music. And this is the time for our conscious giving. And if you'd like, I'd like you to repeat with me the prosperity affirmation. Also, do we have some people that can help us with the... Yeah, there's some there. Thank you. So let's repeat this prosperity affirmation. Divine love, in and through me, blesses and multiplies, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am.
Nice love.
See the curtain hanging in the window, even on a Friday night. A little light shining through the window lets me know everything's alright.
Summer breeze and mixed in with the fire,
Blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
summer breeze mixed in with the fire.
Blowing through the jasmine in my See the people laying on the sidewalk, little music from the house next door. So I walk on up to the doorstep, through the screen and across the floor.
Summer breeze mixed in with the fire.
Blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Summer breeze mixed in with the fire.
Blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Sweet days of summer, the jasmine's in bloom. July is dressed up
a moment and bless these tithes and this giving this. We give thanks for the truth. We know that as we give, we affirm the truth that we already have. And this is the law of compensation, the law of currency. But that which we give comes back to us multiplied. And we give thanks that these tithes and this energy that we call money comes in and goes to every single thing that needs to happen here for the Center for Spiritual Living. And that all things are paid in full. We give thanks for this, giving thanks. We just release it with the words, and so it is. And now we have time for you, standing in the light. This is a time for you to share a demonstration of something that happened for you, or it's a time to affirm something that you'd like to happen for you. And it's what we believe about it. It is our perception and our commitment to, my commitment is to the light that's in each of us. Because I feel that if we light the light in each of ourselves, it reflects around the world. So it is. So it is. And now, one other thing. There is a treatment box in the back for practitioners and ministers. If you fill out something, let's say you don't want to stand up and declare your life, some people do, and you just have a private thing you want to put in the box back there, we're grateful. We will be happy to treat for that at the Transformational Ministry. Also, after service, the ministers and practitioners are here for 3 to 5 minutes as a gift to you. If you have something really bothering you, just nab one of us for 3 to 5 minutes. We'll do a treatment for you. And that's what we do as part of our gift and service. That's our savor when we're here at the center. And that's just myself, Cathy, and the practitioner Stephen, and Bonnie. You'll see them. You know. Okay. So let's move into the closing prayer. The closing treatment. Let's just close our outer eyes and move on into the inner eyes. The truth. Let's take some deep breaths. I always hear Tag saying, let's breathe together. We acknowledge the infinite intelligence that is inside of us, that is also displaying outside of us. And sometimes that intelligence may not look like what we think it should. But what we know is that we always have the right to interpret it by observing it. And so we choose to interpret by watching, by just saying, this too is God, this too is good, this too is happening for me and the planet. And I give thanks that there is an intelligence that is inside of each of us that ripples out every time that we smile at someone. Whether it's the bank teller, it's that person that takes your money at Long's when you've been waiting in line for 5 hours. You just smile at her and go, have a nice day, you need it, and she gets it. Or any place that one goes by smiling, a simple smile. And Doug was right. Thanks for that smile. That's wonderful. And we give thanks because that's our little way of saying it's all working out. We give thanks that this center is blessed with prosperity, with a new wall out there so we can hear what we're talking about lots of times, and that the traffic is slowed down and that it's quiet and peaceful here. And we give thanks that all the reparations that have been done are done now, and we see these as so, and we give grateful thanks for all of this by saying, and so it is. Let us stand, and we're going to sing our